My dreams come true.
Well, good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, May 15, 2024, and welcome to another edition of BS3 Presents The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson. I am your host. Doggone, I keep forgetting my name. Oh, yes, right, Cole Johnson. And for the next 60 minutes, sit back and relax as we get and keep you, I don't know, informed, engaged, entertained, enlightened, and spiritually fed. On this program, we're going to discuss the WNBA's slow and shaky ascent, along with the possible slow and shaky ascent of Caitlin Clark in last night as the WNBA debuted for the 2024 season. We'll also touch on Mother's Day, not for those who actually have their mothers, but those who don't. You know, how should they go about going through licking wounds and actually living and subsisting, especially when that special day comes. And we'll also touch on when anxiety hits you, what should you do? That is on tap for later. But for now, let us get you started up. And here is what's happening in the world today. Boeing has violated a 2021 agreement that shielded it from criminal prosecution after two 737 MAX disasters left 346 people overseas dead. The Department of Justice told a federal judge in a court filing that Boeing, poor Boeing, quote, they failed. That's right, failed to design, implement, and enforce a compliance and ethics program to prevent and detect violations of the U.S. fraud laws through its operations. Close quote. The governor has not yet decided if it will pursue prosecution of Boeing, but lawyers representing families of the victims who died in the crash said they hope to see further action in the case. It's a brand new day, and CBS Mornings co-anchor Gayle King is a Sports Illustrated swimsuit cover star. Yes, do not adjust your sets, do not clean your ears. You heard me correct. The broadcasting legend, who is set to be 70 later on this year, learned the news in a surprise moment during this show yesterday, as King interviewed SI's cover star models Hunter McGrady and Kate Upton. The chat took a surprising turn when the co-host of CBS Mornings, Nate Burleson, said to his colleague that those two weren't the only cover stars in the room at that moment, before he pointed to Gayle. Tom Brady is off the hot seat following Netflix's roast of him, but the 7-time Super Bowl champ said some of those zingers actually did some damage to his family. Brady was the main attraction for Netflix's 3-hour roast earlier this month, actually this past week, with jokes on everything from his legendary NFL career to his highly publicized 2022 divorce from Brazilian supermodel Gisele Bündchen, following the 13 years of marriage. But Brady basically said that it just took a toll on his family, and he didn't realize it because he loves being razzed, loves being joked on because he can return fire. Unfortunately, the shrapnel hit a little too close to home, and he swore off to never do roasts again. Bradley Cooper took his daughter to work for his latest red carpet premiere. The Maestro star had a rare outing Monday at the New York premiere of John Krasinski's If with his daughter lead the scene. The 7-year-old shared the one he has shared with his ex-girlfriend Irina Shayk. In an adorable moment from the event captured by People, Leah was seen holding her famous father's hand as she walked with him on the carpet before she enthusiastically pointed to his character on the movie poster. Another video shared by Page Six showed Leah looking awestruck while speaking to Krasinski on the red carpet. Children of stars actually are starstruck. That is cool. The University of Wyoming Board of Trustees voted unanimously last week to eliminate the school's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, or DEI, department and move its staff and some of its programming to other departments on campus. The decision was made to balance input from the university community and the will of the Wyoming legislature, according to a written statement from the university president, Ed Seidel. Now, they had followed the footsteps of the University of Florida in doing the same thing last year. Red Lobster has abruptly closed dozens of restaurants across the country. A look at the restaurant chain says that they revealed 87 stores temporarily closed around 27 states, with some of them having their kitchen equipment up for auction on an online restaurant liquidator. The liquidator in question, Tag X Brands, announced Monday that it's auctioning off equipment this week for 48 locations that have closed. The website went further in saying that the auctions are live and will end periodically on Thursday, and that each winner will receive the entire contents from the location on which they bid. Oh, no more cheddar bay biscuits. Oh no. The crowd control tactics of the Chicago Police Department, notorious for their botched response to protests following the murder of George Floyd in 2020 and other events in history, are under scrutiny after accusations of excessive force used against student protesters and a recently unveiled mass arrest policy. Three excessive force complaints were recently filed against at least 5 officers over the removal of activists protesting outside the Art Institute of Chicago, according to Civilian Office of Police Accountability, or COPA, or COPA, records obtained via records request. In recent years, studies have concluded that eating grapefruit can help moderate blood pressure and promote heart health. But how exactly does that work? Well, from a registered dietitian, grapefruit is packed with potassium, fiber, and the antioxidant vitamin C, essential nutrients that support your immune and cardiovascular systems. The fruit's low position on the glycemic index scale and corresponding impact on blood sugar also makes it nutritious food to eat if you've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Grapefruit. Wow. In sports, the Knicks on the hardwood spanked the Pacers and now are one way away from the Eastern Conference Finals. The same can be said for the Western Conference Finals, being one win away from the defending champs as they decided to finally win a home game in their series against the Timberwolves, as they are up 3-2. I think both games will be played Friday in Indianapolis in the Midwest, Indianapolis and Minneapolis, respectively. On the ice, the Bruins hold off elimination, but they still trail the Panthers 3-2. In the Eastern Conference semifinals and in the Western Conference semifinals, the Canucks, they got one on the road. They couldn't get two, as now their series with the Oilers is a best of 3 in the Western Conference semifinals. And I think those games actually are on Thursday. Turning to our attention to weather across the U.S. In the Pacific Northwest, it will be partly cloudy and 74 in Seattle. In the Midwest, it will also be partly cloudy and 74 in the Twin Cities. It will be partly cloudy and 64 in Chicago, partly cloudy and 73 in Detroit, partly cloudy and 77 in St. Louis. Well, in the Midwest, it's just partly cloudy. Over on the East Coast, it will be cloudy and 72 in Boston, rainy and 64 in New York, and rainy and 67 in Washington, D.C. In the South, there will be thunderstorms and 92 in Miami, partly cloudy and 77 in Atlanta, partly cloudy and 80 in Memphis, and mostly sunny and 89 in New Orleans. In the Southwest, it will be partly cloudy and 92 in San Antonio, mostly sunny and 91 in Dallas, and partly cloudy and 92 in Houston. It will be a sunny thunderstorm mix with a high of 66 in Denver, mostly sunny and 96 in Phoenix, mostly sunny and 96 in Las Vegas. And over on the West Coast, it will be foggy and 61 in San Francisco. It will be partly cloudy and 69 in the City of Angels. And now you have been started up. Later in the program, how to deal with anxiety and the WNBA, the shaky ascent. It is ascending, but not quite as high as I think we would like, and definitely not quite as comfortable. But coming up next, how should those that you love treat Mother's Day if they're grieving the loss of their mother of any sort? You're watching The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson on the BS3 Network. We'll be right back right after this.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Drew Willingham.
In this case, yeah, you put the blame on Kyle Shanahan for apparently not preparing the team enough for the overtime rules, supposedly.
Cole Johnson. Peyton was considered the winner, and he was the darling of all darlings for Gerald. With a special appearance by Tyrone Alizé McDummy.
Ain't nobody calling me. Text delete, 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 delete.
Join these two football enthusiasts as they give you Total Football Talk. Live every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central on the Sertoba Media and the Comey Media YouTube channels. The moderator.
As woman, you can't be too friendly because the minute you're friendly, then they think you flirting.
The level head.
I think so that thing is over. So I'm not looking at men like that anymore.
The truth slayer.
Okay, what in the HPV yeast infection is going on over here?
The X Factor.
So I'd rather you tell me everything up front and let's start fresh.
The intersection of life and spirituality never sounded this good. BS3 Network proudly presents Life Happens. Live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Welcome back to the Morning Shift with Cole Johnson on the BS3 Network. Glad that you're here, and I'm definitely glad for the shifters that have made it here. And to the shifters we go. The playmaker giving me that wrestling chant of morning shift, morning shift. I love it. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And he's mentioning comment that I will be talking about and touching on a little later in this program. Don't overlook the Connecticut sun. That is correct. And yes, definitely join the playmaker as he, along with my man Cool McCain, they do Monarchs of Wrestling every Monday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central. You can catch it on the Real Real Play Callers YouTube channel, and also the Shady Sports Network YouTube channel. And Playmaker does a lot of other shows too. Shooting Lights Out, Bearing Down the Gridiron, and Ramley Talk. And yeah, he's a Rams fan, but we won't hold that against him. Ryan McCarthy at No Credentials Acquired fame. He says, hey, good morning to all the shifters and another shifter. How you doing, Snowman? Everything is good. He says, morning shift is on, and I will talk Connecticut Sun today. And we'll talk a little bit of Connecticut Sun later on in the program as well. Maybe not as much as you, both of you will, Playmaker and Snowman, and even Ryan, all respectively, but we'll touch on it a little bit. Now, for those who went through Sunday and it was a bit of a struggle for you, it's quite understandable. I mean, it is very understandable. You have a pillar in your life and that pillar is gone, and it could be gone through death. It could be gone through divorce. It could be gone through unfortunate circumstances of actually that person not wanting to see you. But how should you treat Mother's Day? And I know we just celebrated it 3 days ago, but if you feel that pain on Mother's Day, I'm sure you feel the pain the other 364 or of a leap year, 365 days of the year. So on the program Spotlight, we will touch on how you deal with those who struggle with having that loss of a mother, or how should you handle someone who you know is dealing with the loss of a mother. Now, you have to understand something. It's a wonderful day. In fact, studies have shown that the most popular day in the United States in actually taking people out to restaurants is Mother's Day. So we definitely think it's a huge thing. And it's understandably is a huge thing. I mean, this is the person who gave birth to you. I mean, every person that you see on this planet came out of a mother's womb. So it is an important celebration, obviously. But when that celebration is tainted by that pall, that loss, and you see others celebrating that joy of their mother being here, but they can't, well, how can you move on? Well, the short answer is you never will move on. And I will never tell anybody, yeah, that's a pain that you will move on from. No. Clark Kellogg, about 25 years ago, he actually went through the loss of his mother and father during the NCAA tournament time. And I think this was like around March of that time, like early March. And he couldn't have said it better than that I could, because he went on to say, quote, "It is a pain that you can't get past. It definitely is a pain that you can't get over. It's simply a pain you have to get through." Close quote. So how should one get through the pain of the loss of a mother, especially on Mother's Day? Well, understand it's a trigger day for you. You just have to understand it. Because we see these special occasions, church makes it special. I mean, there's a joke about the church where you have CME Christians, and CME stands for the people only attend church on Christmas, Easter, and Mother's Day. But even with those big time celebrations, you have to be mindful of the fact that there's this loss that's there. And it's not simply ones when you're seniors, because it's somewhat understandable if you're 70, 75, 80, 85, that you won't have your mother. Yeah, well, it's understandable that they haven't dealt with, they've had to deal with it for a good while. That's still kind of thought process, though, because I can guarantee you, they still feel the loss of their mother. Even with the advanced age, they do. Had a conversation with my mother-in-law, and she's 80 now. And there was a time that she just called out to her mother. It's just there. It's just this pillar that just does not describe how important it is. You just know. And so you have to understand that when that day comes, it's a trigger. And it will be a trigger for anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. So if you can, try your best to take care of yourself during that time period and just focus on the memories that you share. I mean, it's important that you do, because I know your mother would probably want you to focus on the memories that you shared and not deal with the physical loss that she has from you. So, just try to just deal with the memories, and not just that day, deal with it throughout the year, so that when Mother's Day comes, it's not such a boulder that smacks you, that you look at it and you may not have this bright, wide smile on your face. You're like, yeah, Mother's Day is great, although my mother's gone. It's not going to be that. It can be that, but I'm not going to say it's going to be that for you. But also it cannot. I mean, also it wouldn't have to be for you a veil of tears down your face every Mother's Day. The first one, obviously, but the ones that go forward, yeah, time does heal all wounds, but time with the proper set of good memories do the trick, not just time alone. Write down what you feel, write down your grief. Think about it. If you were to just simply put down thoughts 10 to 15 minutes a day, or a few times a week, if you don't have uh, time to put down thoughts every day, it's a great exercise. And I think it would be therapeutic if you would just take the time to just lay your thoughts bare. And the only example that I really have in familial death would be probably my grandfather. And I didn't realize that through this vehicle I was getting past that grief. Now, he's been gone many decades in my life, but I had a hard time dealing with that death when I was young. And definitely do not ever compare that loss to a loss of a mother with anybody. I don't even come close to doing that. But I do have thoughts of, wow, okay, so when the day happens, how will you be when it happens, and how will you be going forward? I have thought about that, and I'm blessed to have my mother still here. So I'm trying to prepare myself for that eventual day. Now, for you, that day is here. I think this is how you would have to move going forward. But be honest. You see Mother's Day, the second Sunday in May comes, and you feel the dread. And I could tell you a good trick. I could tell you a good marker. Kentucky Derby happens the 2 Saturdays before Mother's Day. So you see that event happen, and now all of a sudden that whole week is you're a ball of nerves, and you're a ball of anger, and you're a ball of pent up frustration, and you are depressed and dejected. I understand that. So be honest with your emotions. And I think the more honest you are, the sooner you are in this process, the better you will be, the quicker you will heal. And yes, the better I think you can grasp. Yeah, I'm going to feel pain every now and then from this loss, but it's good that I have this with my mother. And I say have because the presence of your mother will never go away. Physically, yes. Mentally and emotionally and psychologically, never. So for those of us who are seeing those who are grieving, and I have a couple of my friends who are grieving hard over the loss of their mother. This is something that I try to do so much. Don't force someone to grieve in a certain way. Give them their space, obviously. And if they feel all right, cool. If they don't feel all right, that's cool too, and be there for them when they don't. But don't dictate to them how they should grieve, because everybody grieves in their own way. And that goes for anybody with any death, but most certainly with either the death of a mother or the absence of her. You know, however they grieve is how they grieve. If it's healthy and positive, let it happen. Definitely, please, if it's positive, let it happen. Because it is normal to grieve. I mean, this is a pillar of your life and it's gone. How could you not grieve at intermittent parts of the rest of your life? You're going to. Now, the question is, how will you grieve? And that is on the individual. I can't dictate to anybody else how they grieve, and no one can dictate to me how I do it. You do it when you do it, and you do it how you do it. And if you're going to be a person to be standing in the gap with someone, don't pressure them. But here's, I think, something that probably would help. You look in the eyes of a child, and if they are suffering from that loss and you're an adult and you're suffering from it, if you have enough strength, stand in the gap for them so that you both can walk through that same energy, that same loss, that same pain together. And then you both, because the other exists, will walk together and you will heal together. And it's beautiful to see the healing take place. And you, being the adult that's feeling that pain, will be so inspired by seeing the child enduring that same pain, and they are healing. And in turn, he or she will make you heal faster. Out of the mouths of babes, as they say, right? But not only about the death or the absence of your mother is important. Other things are important too, and other people are important. And, hopefully when you go through this period of adjustment, that yes, no one can replace your mother. Nobody can. But what other people can do is they can stand in the gap for her. And if you can actually have the strength to withstand that loss with having a wonderful team around you, it might make your journey easier. Better, maybe. Now, will it do the ultimate thing and bring your mother back? No, of course not. But anything is better than nothing. Now, if you want perspective on life and spirituality intersecting, join these four women, Grace, Kim, Felicia, and Tanya, as they talk about life and spirituality combined together and have spirited conversations with the four of them and sometimes a guest. Life Happens live every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on the BS3 Network via Roku TV and the BS3 Network YouTube channel and Facebook page. That is Life Happens live tonight and every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on the BS3 Network via Roku TV. Coming up next, the WNBA. It's on the rise, but how comfortable is the ride? We'll be right back right after this.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze god.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crayon they get, they palm it and do two circles, and that translates to I can beat up black people.
As she takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific Time Zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. Poppy J.
You got the option to cry for the government. You got the option to protest. You got the option to keep buying. But this is also an option.
Wise El Jefe.
We're the first tech geeks. We're the first gamers. We're the first everything. Everything. Like Gen X's, we are the ones.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Poppy J and Wise El Jefe. Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure. Are you looking for something to do on your lunch break? Well, there's a show on the BS3 Network that has only 4 words to say to you.
We ready. We ready. We ready for y'all. We ready. We ready.
The Lunch Break with AJ, powered by JM&E. Live weekdays at noon Central.
Welcome back to the Morning Shift with Cole Johnson on the BS3 Network. I'm so glad that you're here with me. Back to the shift as we go. And I mentioned him earlier. I mentioned in the last segment. Here he is, the other half of Monarchs of Wrestling. Let me see. Eagles Elite, Play Caller Sports Talk. I mean, the dude has a laundry list of shows. Cool McCain, and he is one of my brothers of broadcasting. Ah, that's right. On the morning shift. I'm glad you're here, my man. Cool. I love that, brother. I love it. And if you want to actually have sports talk in a way that combines the city and the country, why don't you join 2 Kentucky boys? Yes, Troy Brown and Vinny Hardy. You will have them right there, live and in living color. Live in living color. Cats Talk Wednesday. They talk about University of Kentucky stuff and other sports stuff too, because they are fans of other sports teams, professional and collegiate. Every Wednesday, 6 p.m. East, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central. You'll catch them today and every Wednesday on the BS3 Network via Roku TV and the Cats Talk WED Facebook page. That is Cats Talk Wednesday live this Wednesday, which is today, and every Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central on the BS3 Network via Roku TV and the BS3 Network YouTube channel and the Cats Talk Wednesday or WED Facebook page. Now, yesterday began the 2024 campaign for the WNBA. And all of that has been great. In fact, it's been so great that a lot of us have been anticipating and almost drooling with the understanding that we are now on the precipice of something great and something beautiful. However, has it been all smooth? On today's cover story, we're going to touch on the meteoric and bumpy ride that the WNBA has been on these last couple of years. And See if where they're going is actually on a good trajectory. Now, the short answer indication would be to the question I just raised would be yes, the WNBA is headed for a meteoric rise. And you can see it in Caitlin Clark, even in last night's game. Yes, I know. I know. It sounds strange when I say that this person who is going to, well, who already has changed the face of professional women's basketball in the United States. She last night in her WNBA debut had 20 points, which was a team high, but committed 10 turnovers, which also was a team high, in a blowout loss to the Connecticut Sun. There was some naysayers already out in the woodworks, ready and willing, and they said, "quote." So I thought Caitlin Clark was the best thing since sliced bread. I mean, I thought she was better than Diana Taurasi. I thought she was better than Cheryl Swoops. I thought she was better than Maya Moore. What are you talking about? There's nothing to this Caitlin Moore chick. Close quote. The woman is only 1 month removed from playing in a national championship game. She has only been a professional for a few weeks now. And you mean to tell me you want to simply clown on this woman already? After one game. But you want to know why you could say she probably is bigger than sliced bread, and I won't say better in skill, but better in impact than all the names I just mentioned? The crowd that saw the Sun, and the Sun, mind you, is probably the team that is probably most able to challenge the two-time defending WNBA champs, the Las Vegas Aces. I'll touch on them in a moment. They had almost 8,000. They almost had 9,000 people, I should say. I'm sorry, in the in the Mohegan Sun Arena. Almost 9,000 people there. Now you're probably saying, well, 9,000 there. That's nothing, Cole. First Suns opener sellout in 21 years. There's your impact right there. There's your impact. Oh, and if you want more impact, I'll touch on the Caitlin Clark effect a little later. But there you go. Yesterday's game, sellout crowd, the first time a home opener sold out for them in 21 years. And this is a contender for the WNBA crown. Oh, and oh, by the way, Disney Plus decided to actually make it its first televised sporting event, live sporting event. Yes, the Indiana Fever, Connecticut Sun, all due to Caitlin Clark. Now, from the East to the West, the Aces, they celebrated their back-to-back championship trophy celebration with an 89-80 victory over the Mercury behind AJ Wilson's 30 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 assists. And of course, you had bowl cut. I'm sorry, that's just mean. I shouldn't say that. Mark Davis, who is the majority owner of the team, say to the crowd in Las Vegas, quote, "We're back. Not only were we back, we're back-to-back world champions. And all I got to say is three-peat." Close quote. Well, bowl cut, all I got to say is focus more on the football team that's in your city and not the women's basketball squad. They're straight. Your Raiders are not. I digress. 7-time Super Bowl champion Tom Brady, who is also a part owner of the Aces, he wanted to have the team focus on the task in front of them, not necessarily what they have done behind them. And so he said, look, those banners will be there. And you don't have to defend the banners, but you do have to go out there and prove that you are the best. So just go out there and do what you do. And I'm glad that Tom Brady actually was the voice of reason and got a chance to actually say that to those women. Because the road to getting that third straight championship is going to be really difficult for them. Now, I mentioned the WNBA and its ascent, and I just mentioned the Caitlin Clark effect already, and I'll touch more on it in a minute. But the change is slow. Let's be completely honest. Now, they announced last week that they're having charter flights arranged with every WNBA team with Delta Airlines. And so that has been a point of contention for many years. And that's off the table, right? No. Angel Reese, as recently as this past weekend, talked about the frustrations of still flying commercial because the Chicago Sky has not received that memo. It's unfortunate. Now, you're probably saying, well, Cole, what are you talking about? I mean, they're still flying. They could be bust. Okay, well, here's the difference. Commercial airlines, you have been on a commercial airliner. We're not talking first class. We're talking coach. With some of those planes, it can be a little uncomfortable, especially for those who are taller than me, and even those who are as tall as me. I'm 6 feet even. You're dealing with many individuals in the WNBA who are taller than me. Angel Reese being one of them, standing at 6'3". And if you have to fly from New York to LA, which some teams do, 5 hours is uncomfortable being like this. Heck, even 2.5 hours is uncomfortable being like this. In a charter flight, you can lay back. Less wear on your body equals better performance for the athlete. That's why it's important for charter flights for the WNBA to be in the coffers instead of have them fly commercial and say, you can take care of yourself. Hopefully they'll grow into understanding that you have to treat your athletes with respect and deference. But even with that being said, expansion is still at hand. I mean, you have Golden State. You know, the Bay Area has a team now, and they actually gave it a name, and it's the Valkyries, which, of course, it plays on the name of the Warriors. You know, you have your male Warriors, and you have the Valkyries, who are female Warriors. I actually like the name, which is cool. And Toronto, congratulations to you all, the T Dot. They have their own franchise awarded. So I'm happy to see two areas that really deserve to have a WNBA team, and they'll treat each team beautifully. But I'm going to be blunt. The WNBA needs to come home. You're already in Seattle, so that's good, but you need to come home. Who are your first 4 WNBA champions? Yeah, the first 4. 97, 98, 99, 2000. That would be the Houston Comets, which unfortunately they got contracted and they are no more. It is now time to have a WNBA franchise, and I will double down and say it's time for the Houston Comets to return. It is time for a franchise to be in Houston. What better time than now? What better place than a team that still has as many championships as any other team that's out there now. Now, we've witnessed the growth of women's basketball through the college ranks. I mean, we hung on everything we saw South Carolina do in their road to their undefeated national championship this year. We saw their road last year come to a halt in the Final Four. And then we saw the national championship game, which brought Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese to the national spotlight. And we were seeing arenas sell out this past year. And we were seeing interest in the women's college game dwarf that of the men's college basketball game. And because of that, the WNBA had the foresight to actually see, okay, well, it looks like this new crop of talent along with Caitlin Clark, I think we're going to have to change some things up. And so now you have Fever Games is going to take place in Gainesbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. And you're going to have games when Fever enter into certain arenas where it will not be the arenas where they play. It will be where the NBA teams play. So it's quite possible we might see a Fever Sky game in the United Center or a Fever Sparks game in crypto.com. I mean, the possibilities can be endless, and I'm loving it. I'm actually giddy with the growth. I really am. But we still have to deal with idiots, and we still have to deal with awkward moments, and we still have to deal with the fact that we still don't know what to do and how to act when it comes to the sport and the athletes therein. A columnist that I know, I mean, I know of him very well, and I know the paper very well. In fact, I work alongside them loosely. Columnist in his own city, covering the Fever. He awkwardly fumbled his way through the introductory press conference, actually almost resembling when he was saying things to Caitlin as if he was like a director and he had a leather couch that he wanted to try and audition a woman for. Now, I'm not saying that's what his intent was, but his words came out to where it felt that sleazy and it felt that uncomfortable and it felt that awkward. So let's understand something. I'm a man. We still have a ways to go when it comes to actually lauding these women, because let's be blunt. The WNBA women, they could probably take 98% of us and clown us with the stuff that they can do because they are trained athletes and most of us are not. So we must respect them like we respect the men. They go in day out. They bust their hump and they try their best to put forth the best product possible. It is time that we give them their flowers, and we give them their flowers now. Not because it's cute, but because they've earned it. So let's help the growth of the WNBA and stop blocking it because you're seeing it for gender. It's not a gender role thing. It's a merit thing. They've earned it. Let's give it to them. And that is your cover story. When we come back, final thoughts and a salutation to get you on your way. This is the Morning Shift with Cole Johnson on the BS3 Network. We'll be right back right after this.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze god.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crayon they get, they palm it and do two circles, and that translates to I can be the black people.
As he takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific time zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. Poppy J.
You got the option to cry for the government. You got the option to protest. You got the option to keep buying, but this is also an option.
Wise El Jefe.
We're the first tech geeks. We're the first gamers. We're the first everything. Everything. Like Gen X's, we are the ones.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Poppy J and Wise El Jefe. Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure. Are you looking for something to do on your lunch break? Well, there's a show on the BS3 Network that has only 4 words to say to you.
ready. We ready. We ready for y'all. We ready. We ready. We ready for y'all.
The Lunch Break with AJ, powered by JM&E. Live weekdays at noon Central.
Well, welcome back to the Morning Shift with Cole Johnson on the BS3 Network. Glad that you're here. We're going to go to the shifters one last time before we head on out. And you're saying, yes, the Golden State Valkyries are coming. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Ryan, he says, oh, good Lord. These folks talk like they've never had a bad game. Yeah. Yeah, and they talk like they've never seen one, too. And it's sad. It's sad how people are like that. My man. The owner, the manipulator, the operator of the BS3 Network, Benjamin Sutter III. Says good morning, Cole, and good morning, shifters. And he loves the bowl cut reference. That's just what I call Mark Davis. Just look at his hair. I'm sorry. Trying to copy the Beatles, and they've been over for 50 years, almost 55 years, and he still wants to look like them. And thank you, Cool. Yes. And the WNBA needs to go back to Charlotte. And the Charlotte Sting needs to come back as well. I agree with you. I will get to the anxiety portion a little bit at another time, but unfortunately, I have to wrap things up. That's all the time I have for the morning shift. I'm so glad, Shift, that you came along for the ride with me. Be blessed, everybody. Have a wonderful, safe day. And I will say this in parting, as I always do. And also, thank you for liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing to this wonderful channel. And you can get all the commentary and content your heart desires from the BS3 Morning Shift Cole Johnson YouTube channel. But as I will always say in parting, if you lack commitment, you will never start. If you lack consistency, you will never finish. And if you lack love, you will most certainly never conquer. Until we meet again in 23 hours, have a wonderful day, everybody. So long, and I will see you tomorrow morning.